but neither of them were proven solids. Period.
So I don't believe that we can necessarily prove that the sun would be solid. As far as the moon, I don't know. I can't say we. Me and my team has never flown to the moon to say that we have verifiable data. But the only data that I can take from or surmise is from basic public schooling education is that Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon along with Buzz Aldrin, and they're the people that landed on the moon, put a thing on it, and that's all information from public school. But that's all I really know.
Yeah, well, when you start looking into all these things as well, like Buzz Aldrin and Neil and whatnot, and you actually look into it, like the interviews afterwards and whatnot. First off, Buzz Aldrin told an elementary school saying, "Hey, we never went."
Really?
And that's a really good question, right? The other dude never did a single fucking interview after he did the one initial interview when he came back.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely look into that.
You go ahead. Not only that, but all the astronauts that allegedly died, they're still alive.
Really?
They've been tracked down too. They had like most of them have the same fucking name. It's fucking crazy.
So then, when Katherine Johnson, she helped calculate the trajectory of one of these satellites, and this is like recorded in history. She's like a famous black lady, right? She was a famously discriminated against working at NASA, and she helped actually with one of these satellites or the rockets getting into orbit because the Russians apparently did it first. They wanted to go ahead and do it, right? So if that's documented that we're able to get into a atmosphere and this black lady's
it's a beautiful story, but none of these things are true, man. Like first off, the thermosphere is 4,500 degrees, right? And then the exosphere is 2,500 degrees. You know, aluminum melts at 1,221 degrees. You know, like then they go, and every time like there's something like that where it's like, how come these ships don't fucking disintegrate or melt before they get to their destination and whatnot when they're going through the exo and the thermosphere?
Yeah.
Then they tell you, oh, the molecules aren't close together, so it's not actually that temperature. You know, it's always a go around or always another lie to cover up the lie.
Yeah.
And it's all bullshit, man. You know? Then not only that, but then they tell you straight up, we can't get past the Van Allen radiation belts. They already tell you that.
And I'm not too familiar with the Van Allen radiation belt.
So the Van Allen is the firmament. You know, they tell you it. Just look it up, Van Allen radiation.
We can't because we're on podcast.
Yeah.
So you can, if you got your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Pull it up real quick.
No, you're good, man. I believe that there's a lot of credibility to what you're saying, and I'm not discrediting anything that.
It's an enormous amount of research in every aspect of it. There's this crazy amount of videos where they go live. They have water filling up their helmets and whatnot, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know, how you drown in space. They've had astronauts drown in space.
Yeah.
Then they try to tell you, oh, it's the water in the suit and whatnot, you know. But that's also bullshit. When you look into like the suits and how what they actually do, and they're actually the stuff, how they create it.
Yeah.
First off, they created it in the 60s and shit like that, and they only have like a certain number of suits and shit. Then the same materials, they go, oh, it could take this temperature and this temperature, right? And what's crazy is they'll have the same people in the suits. They had this one incident where they went to like the Netherlands or whatever, and then they had to get blankets given to them because of how fucking cold they were. But then it's like, wait, you're in a fucking spacesuit. Why do you need a blanket? You know what I mean? These suits are supposed to withstand these temperatures, no problem. You know. Not only that, but then they tell you what they're made out of, and then say it can withstand this and this degrees, right? But then you go and look up, right, the exact ingredient, and it shows like, no, it can't withstand those temperatures. And then you look up where it was manufactured, and then they're saying, no, it doesn't withstand those temperatures. You know, like behind every aspect of the flat Earth, when you start like looking into like, I mean, objectively looking into the globe, just no part of it actually makes any sense. You
Now
know?
explain. The thing is, from what you've told me, is that people that are labeled flat earthers, they get a psyops, or basically they get marketed as conspiracy theorists, and people assume that they're talking about that the earth is flat, and that basically just explain, give me more of an understanding so that we can basically have an in-depth understanding of it, really.
All right, so pretty much any like real, like true, authentic flat earther believes that ground beneath us doesn't move. Space is 100% fictional, right? Like there is no like all these other planets and shit like that. And essentially, there's an enormous dome over us, a firmament, and above the firmament is water. Fucking nuts.
Water.
Yeah. And not only that, but they have a bunch of videos like proving it with private rockets hitting the firmament.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Not only that, but we've actually seen like the SpaceX Falcon 9 like interact with the firmament as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, many times. So.
So now
it's great. No, it's just there's
did you
water
write 2 J's?
Yeah. But all right. When it comes to flat Earth, none of us believe in space. So the whole where's the edge makes no fucking sense. Why would there be an edge? We believe there's land, there's water, there's an ice wall holding in the water, and there might be a dome. That's where the dome might be to begin. I don't know where the fuck the dome begins, right? But we also believe that there's more land outside of the ice walls.
In Antarctica would be the ice walls.
Yeah, the Arctic. It's called the Arctic Circle. What's actually really interesting is they actually used to teach flat Earth in school, and then in the early 1900s they taught both, right? But before they taught both, point during World War II or whatever, Rockefeller's got involved with the education system during the Great Depression or whatever, and he financed the government to basically like put the books in schools and shit. But he was like, you got to buy these books, so. And all of them were basically like talking about the sphere and shit like that. Because before that, a lot of people knew about the flat Earth shit, man. And the rest is history,
So
like,
if we go completely east or west, we tend, from my knowledge, we end up back at the same spot, right? If we go all the way east, we go all the way to the west.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we go all the way south, that's the Arctic Circle, right?
Yeah.
And if we go all the way north
just points towards the middle.
and so what is the top north, like near Iceland?
It's right above
That's Antarctica?
the Polaris, the North Star, right? Like right beneath that is where authentic north is. It points right to right. You know how like the North Star, also the star that doesn't move. There's a fucking star that doesn't move. North Star. North Star doesn't move. All the stars revolve around the North Star, right? So that star is literally where north on any compass, anywhere you are in the world, points there. And there is no south. There's the Arctic Circle. We don't know what's beyond the Arctic Circle, but essentially we are in the center of the universe.
So why don't they fly past or over those areas?
Can't. Anytime, because there have been people that, millionaires or whatever, and they're like, I want to test this shit. You know what I mean? Because really, you don't even need that much money to try and test this shit. You go, hey, but think about it this way. No one's explored to this day, the Antarctica or any of that shit. None of that land. Hardly anyone ever goes there. You can make a fucking name for yourself over there, but no one ever does. You're not allowed to, man. They have like these tourists things where they basically just show you like this one part that stretches out from the Arctic Circle or whatever, but no one ever goes and you're not allowed to. There's plenty of videos online, people going by boat trying to go, and people going by plane, and every time the United States like National Guard or some shit like fly up on some fucking killer jets like, yo, we're gonna shoot your shit down if you don't fucking take a U-turn. And then the guys that went on boat got like literally those big aircraft carrier defense ships or whatever pulled up and was like, turn your shit around now or fucking die, right? So it's fucking nuts, man. You're not allowed to go. We're literally trapped in this bitch, And then you have like other Globers that try and say that's absurd. There's no way, right? But think about the budget they have, man. They have so much money, and this is a really big deal thing. They get trillions of dollars in fucking funding. They have all the top. I'm sure you've heard about all the celebrities and the government officials are all pedophiles. This shit's fucking true, man. You got 800,000 kids that go missing every fucking year, just America.
What about all the black women that go missing?
Fucking organ harvesting.
Now explain stars.
Stars, they're just lights attached to the firmament, which is the dome. And then you have your wandering stars, which are considered planets. They're just luminaries. When you look at them through telescopes, they're first off, they flicker light. They're flickering lights, which is impossible on a fucking planet, right? And then second off, they look like they're underwater when you get a really good telescope. You know, it's fucking weird as fuck.
Well,
not only that, but you know, they have all these apps that tell you, right? But think about that. They have these apps that tell you. You don't actually look at them. You know what I mean? So how would you actually know if you don't actually look at them?
mm-hmm.
You know? There's just a lot of different observation points. Not only that, but the observational evidence, such as, you know, planes, people literally recording a plane going through the fucking shit and just...
A plane going through what?
The moon.
The moon.
Not only that, but then it's also been recorded stars. People taking a picture of the moon, and there's stars not only through the dark part of the moon, but also through the bright side of the moon, that they can see the stars right through them.
I believe Einstein explained that as gravitational lensing. I'm not too familiar with the entire thesis of it, but they might say that gravity distorts
I mean,
photons.
that's literally what the answer for everything for Globers is: gravity, gravity, gravity. But gravity is immediately debunked when you talk about wood floating on fucking water. You know, why does the wood's extremely heavy? Why doesn't it sink down?
Because
it's density, right? There's buoyancy and density. Gravity is immediately debunked because of wood. You know, think about an apple. Galileo was sitting under a fucking tree. Apple hits him in the head. He goes, "Oh yes, mass times force or whatever. Right? That's equal to gravity."
Yeah.
But if that same motherfucker was sitting under a tree and that was right by a pool, it would have hit him in the head, then landed in the water, and it would have floated. You know, technically speaking, during the gravity, it should have sunk. But now you're gonna have to tell me a different explanation onto why this anti-gravitational apple floated. You know, and all it is density interacting with its environment. You know, like the raw material of it. You know, think about like iron or like an anchor. If you put an anchor inside of mercury, it floats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Fucking crazy, yeah.
An anchor.
An anchor, yeah. Like heavy as fuck. Like a couple 1,000 pounds. You put it inside liquid mercury. What are you grabbing, baby?
You see Avery?
You know, other things. First off, all right. Let's go back into other things that you believe. So you believe that, like, school teachers, fragile ass school teachers, are in the ISS that travel at 17,500 miles per hour.
Well, you did describe to me that these stats are a bit embellished, and if based off of what you've told me, and we go ahead.
Think about this. They just lie to you all the time. They just think everyone's stupid, man. Think about the Hubble telescope. When they first launched the Hubble telescope, it was broken, right? So they had to go up there and fix it while it was traveling at 17,500 miles per hour, right? So you got a huge person standing on this thing on another ship, right? Fixing the telescope, right, while they're moving 17,000 miles per hour.
Well, technically they would be moving 17,000 miles per hour, but they're not really actually moving that fast, because the higher up you go, the more land you cover, because you're able to move in such a short distance. So yeah, they're going
17,000 miles per hour is the rate at which they're moving.
I don't know if that's, it might be, but I don't know if that's what, because the higher you go, literally you're covering more land. The higher
17,000 miles per hour.
It might just be a
you're
measurement.
Supposed to be able to go revolve the entire Earth within 30 minutes.
Well, and they should be. I think they are able to do that.
Okay, so then, how does it make any sense that they're outside of a ship moving 17,000 miles per hour? They would just fly right.
The lower, okay, so the lower you are, the higher the velocity you need to reach that terminal speed.
Yeah, but you're a human being. You have no velocity, speed, or any of that shit.
So what happens is that you're catching the momentum of the gravitational pull. So when they're doing the math for that and they shoot that shit out, they know that it's gonna catch on to this pathway.
That makes absolutely no sense, because if you stick your hand out of a fucking car, your hand goes like that, right? Same thing with a train, with an airplane, all that.
So have you ever seen them refill airplanes while they're moving?
One flies above the other. They shoot out this fucking thing. They fill it up, right? They're both moving about the same speed.
Indeed, that's exactly.
But you're talking about a human coming out of the ship and standing on here, like they're going to be able to actually, no, they fucking fall off like that. Especially moving 10 times faster than a bullet.
Well, the thing is, I don't necessarily think it'd be moving 10 times faster.
They
than a
are
bullet.
moving 10 times
They're
faster. than a
saying
bullet.
that, but I think it's more.
Listen, they are. Whether if you say they're saying, so you're literally stating that they have to be lying about it because they're stating they're moving 10 times faster than a bullet, and that a person can withstand that speed of 17,000 miles per hour.
I don't think they feel it.
How would they not feel it if people aren't allowed even inside of a drone that moves 2,000 miles per hour?
Because inside the atmosphere, there's atmospheric pressure, and we're outside of it. There's not much pressure.
So then, why wouldn't they just have the drones and then put the people inside the cockpit outside of it to compensate so that they don't pass out and die?
Because if you're outside of here, it's a lack of oxygen.
How would it be a lack of oxygen?
Because the higher you go up, the thinner the air.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is if you stay here, because it would still be the same shit.
It wouldn't be. Because here we have...
Oh, and you're saying lack of oxygen, you put them in a spacesuit.
Put them in a spacesuit, and you have like an oxygen tank, and you're like flying here.
Yeah, how the fuck would that be? It wouldn't be possible.
Well, the thing is that you still have
I
gravitational
understand Mission
forces.
Impossible or some good movies and shit.
No, I'm not even thinking about pop culture.
Ridiculous.
But like gravitational forces, G-forces,
you're
they
talking
account...
about a person just literally floating out there, fixing something. This thing's moving 17,000 miles per hour, and there's nothing but a tether holding this person. How is this person able to keep up with something that's moving 17,000 miles per hour?
You ever heard of the term zero G's?
It's
Okay.
zero G's,
Zero
gravity
G.
force.
Okay, so when you're talking about G-forces and you're like, oh, when you get 300 miles per hour and you're hitting these G-forces, the gravitational forces are things being applied to you because you're inside the atmosphere. But once you make it outside the atmosphere, the G-forces go down because you're outside of the...
That doesn't explain something that's moving 17,000 miles per hour and you've just floated.
Because even if you're moving 17,000 per hour, G-forces don't account. They don't apply.
No, what you're not understanding is this person doesn't have a jet on him to make him
They're
move
holding on to it. They're tethered to it.
They're tethered to it, but neither of them are. I'm telling you, they're not moving both 17,000 miles per hour. That's 10 times faster than a bullet. And then you have this person floating in the middle of them. These jets would fly back, and this person would just be, oh fuck.
So what happens is that.
So how? That's like this. This is one. This is the other, and this guy's on a tether, right, fixing it. But both these things are moving 17,000 miles per hour. This person doesn't have a jet or anything to move 17,000 per hour. So this would be moving like this, and the string would be dragging him.
That would
How would he's not moving 17,000 miles per hour.
That would be if there were G-forces.
That doesn't make any sense. What I'm talking about is this and this are moving 17,000 miles per hour. There's a string holding this guy. These two would continue to go moving 17,000 miles per hour.
There's no wind up there. There's nothing. There's no.
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, all right, yes, 100%. All right, you can move 17,000 miles per hour. So both these are moving 17,000 miles per hour. This person doesn't have a jet. He has a string holding it.
Yeah.
So just like if I put a string onto you and I put it onto the car, and I have this other car right there, right, and we have a string,
Yeah.
we're gonna drag you.
Yeah, yeah.
This person would be dragged.
Yeah.
You can't fix something moving 17,000 miles per hour just yourself. That's what I'm saying. That's like right now, I take this car, you take that car, we put you on a string, right? And we both moved at the same speed, right? And we just throw you out the car to go fix that car. You would be dragged because both of us are moving 17,000 miles per hour.
Perfect analogy, right? So say you have that van right there, right? And I have my car. And in that side of the van, you have this device that comes out while we're moving, and it has this thing that's moving with it, right?
No,
and
but that's not what happens though.
That's
he literally has only a tether, and then
they have something called oxygen like thrusters. So what happens is that
an oxygen thruster could make you fucking go 17,500 miles per hour.
But there's no G-forces, remember?
But that doesn't matter if there's no G-force. You have two objects moving 10 times faster than a bullet, which isn't even fucking seeable with the fucking naked eye.
Because that's when you're closer to surface level. When you're farther up, that it's like literally fucking 20 miles per hour here. It's like 10 miles per hour.
Something that's moving 17,500 miles per hour, it's still, when you're close up near it, it's fucking move, immediately it's fucking gone.
Yeah, but I don't think that's how the science works with that. I think
it literally doesn't make any sense. I'm talking, it's pseudoscience. You can put something on paper, but it's never actually been observed. You know, all these videos, when you look at it, is fake. The fucking fake as shit, man. They don't even look real. You know, fucking the CGI bullshit I see looks more real, and I'll pull shit up too, man. When you go and look at them, they look fake. They look staged. Like It looks staged.
Which, with the rocket launches?
All of them, like people fixing the Hubble telescope. They all have it on recording too.
Yeah.
You know, it looks staged. It looks fake.
A lot of footage does look staged and
it is staged
and produced. And I can't tell you because I haven't seen
not
all
only
of the
that,
footage.
but you're literally saying You're saying, man, that essentially I could throw you out of a car in a tether, and you could work on that vehicle while it moves 17,000 miles per hour.
If I had a rocket-propelled wheelchair that was meant to do that,
well, you don't need that. We have 2 cars.
But I'm saying though, so what happens is that you got the truck, you drop out the rocket-propelled wheelchair, and I'm on the rocket-propelled wheelchair.
Yeah, but then what I'm stating is, you don't have a rocket-propelled wheelchair when they're up there.
The thruster pack.
No, I'm telling you, you're literally saying the dumbest shit, which is saying a little thruster, right, makes you go 17,500. And not only that, but how the fuck would the thrusters be able to properly shoot him and keep up with these fucking incredibly fast vehicles? 17,000, that's 10 times, that's me strapping myself to a bullet, man. That's fucking incredible.
I don't know if because it's just really, I think you got to understand that the higher you go, more ground you cover.
It doesn't make any sense, man, does it? Period.
I think that's literally how it works. It's like the higher you go, I think they're using measurements for how high they are to how much ground they cover.
We could just use very simple, logical shit. It says it right in the Bible. Everything's supposed to be easy, and it's true, man. I've come to the understanding that when people use really big words, they're actually less intelligent.
I know that.
And the reason why I say this is because the number one thing you want is to be understood. Right? So what do you use? Simple words. So we are all understood.
On the same
so
page.
when you start saying big ass words and shit like that, right? You're just being a pompous asshole.
You're trying to prove to some people that I get it.
Know,
that's why I don't try to use big, like a whole bunch of crazy words.
Say I keep it as simple as fucking possible.
I agree
man.
with you.
But literally what I'm saying is this moves 17, this moving 17, I'm on a string, bro. These motherfuckers are gonna drag the fuck out. Like whether if there's no fucking, I understand what you're saying. Oh, there's the molecules are more spread out, so they can just pretty much go forward where there's no air or whatever to fight against. Yeah, I know. I understand exactly what you're saying. But in the same thing, then they wouldn't be able to go forward because they have nothing to push off. Right? That's where you go. Oh, once you're already going that speed and whatnot, I understand exactly what you're saying. That's where I get into pseudoscience because it's never actually been observed. The things that they show us, right? First off, is inside the dome, and they've already tell you like the distance the furthest we've gone is the moon allegedly. Yeah. But now they tell you that's impossible because of the Van Allen radiation belts. Nothing can go there. Period. Right? Look, you have to get more familiar with your own beliefs. Van Allen radiation belts. They tell you we can't go there. We can't get past it. Right? First off, we never have gone past it. No one ever has. Right? It's all bullshit. You know, the fact that you would think that something the size of that, ISS, right, can even move 17,000 miles per hour is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's not practical because it's huge. It's fucking
enormous.
The size of like a stadium.
And not aerodynamic, none of these things. Yeah. And they try and say the pseudoscience, and I understand what you're saying, man. I understand it. I understand the numbers, the talk, all of it.
I know that there's some bullshit to it though.
But what I'm saying is it's never been observed.
Understood.
So technically, it's not following scientific method.
Yeah.
It's actually just going off of hypothesis and numbers, and it's actually not going scientific method because you actually have to see the observational evidence. Number one, of it moving 17,000 miles per hour.
Well,
that's fucking crazy.
The only
fast.
evidence that I can present would be something called a SATCOM telephone. Right now, the way that these things work, they wouldn't even be
satellite telephones.
Yeah.
First off, they don't work everywhere, man. They only work in certain areas.
Technically, I just googled. I was looking at them.
No, they don't, man. I'm telling you. When you go into these certain areas that have no fucking people, all fucking phones go to the antennas. That's it, man. Period. I met a ton of dudes. Build the 5G towers. Build all the blah blah blah. I used to believe the same thing, that they go to the satellites. They absolutely
SATCOM phones.
Yeah, the satellite phones and shit like that, they do not go to that. They just go to the antennas. They can go further out to different antennas, but those also don't work in certain regions of the world.
So when they're in like Afghanistan and using the SATCOM to talk to their family back at home, how does that work?
Antennas.
Just straight antennas over that long ass period of water?
Yeah, because in the water they have fucking
fiber optics, but they don't have antennas in the water.
Yeah, they do. I'll show you. Show you what they look like.
Please. Nah.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, they do. But yeah.
This is a good conversation.
Yeah, they do, man. I'll show you right here. This is what it looked like. It looked like this, and it looked like that.
See, the thing is that these aren't even close to the ones that are all the way up there.
Dude, they have ones like almost a mile tall.
Yeah,
I know about those too,
that
man.
guy and his little bit of shit.
All of them go towards it, man.
Yeah,
All
these
of
look
them.
like relays. They look like they're not they're not and I'm I'm a computer person, so those don't look necessarily
But-
like the actual.
Also, man, look, you gotta look at all
Communication
these
towers.
different satellites. All of them move 17,500. None of it even looks real, bro, at all. There's not a single real picture of a fucking satellite on Google, all right, or on Bing or anything else. They all look fake as fuck. How would that
How
go
would that-
17,000?
But how would they have a picture of it though?
Fucking when they build it.
Maybe, but the
The
thing
fuck?
is, I can't.
Not only that, but you can't. Also can't find a satellite launch
Yeah.
ever.
Without a mirror, I can't look at myself. Without like a
What
camera. phone,
all
I
these
can't.
things that you're going off of are pictures and like
Yeah,
CGI. You know, like
Yeah.
there's no actual evidence of it. Period. You know, why don't we see them all over the place? Why isn't when I get a dope ass telescope, it's clean up there. Ain't no space debris. You know what I mean? How come we can't use a really good telescope to look at the fucking the flag where we landed? You
On the
know?
moon?
Yeah.
I've heard that you can. I've just never done it.
Nah, man, they can't. Man. They fucking gets asked all the time. Like,
I've never actually looked. Have you bought the telescope to verify yourself?
Frankie has, and he can't. You see a lot more detail. There's a lot of detail in the shit, but
So
it goes back into the same argument of we don't know what the fuck it is.
what I think you're on to something besides.
Also, the craters, man, all the craters. So you're telling me that the rocks just got up and walked away, all of them? You know, like what the fuck?
No, those are rocks hitting it.
Yeah, and then the rock that fucking hit it and the debris.
Well,
It's gone.
the moon would be too small to sustain a gravitational pull, so those things will fly away.
No, yeah, but that's a great thing you just talked about, gravity, right? They say no gravity in space and et cetera, but then there's gravity to pull all the planets and then the
Well, the
fucking
more
moons and
mass
shit.
you have, the more gravitational pull you have.
So then you're talking about there's gravity in space.
Yeah, there is, but it's the thing is that like so if we play loud music right here, we can hear it all the way to my car, but if we go to the street over there, we're not going to hear the music. So imagine that's like
it only goes so far, yeah.
that's gravity. So the more mass you have, the fatter I am, the bigger I am, the more music the larger.
I understand like
See?
how gravity, like how they tell us it works
Yeah.
and whatnot, but it's all bullshit, man.
In a
First off,
sense-
the moon would get sucked up right by the sun's gravity immediately.
The moon would get sucked up by. Well, the thing is, it's
Let's
sustained
pull
to. It's sustained to our gravity, our gravitational pull.
It's all bullshit, man. The sun's gravity. First off, the sun is like 2 million something miles in circumference.
'Cause-
It's like it's unbelievably big.
Because
Okay?
if that was the case, the sun would have pulled us in too.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we're on something called
It's
orbit.
absolutely ridiculous. I'll show you what it looks like, and it makes absolutely no sense.
Like we're on an orbit, so we orbit the sun, the moon orbits us,
I understand it, but it just makes no sense.
and
Like,
other planets
the
have
same-
moons too.
Yeah,
They're
but
called
all
satellites.
these things, the different size of the different planets, it would definitely make things go out of order, suck them from one pools to the other, especially with larger objects. Like this doesn't make any sense, man.
What doesn't make
You
any
got, like-
what doesn't make any sense to me is that they're perfectly in.
And not only that, but the main thing is when you look at them, these things that you're talking about are all CGI. Anytime someone actually observably looks at the shit, it's fucking light that flickers and looks like it's underwater. It's fucking crazy.
I haven't made the effort to
Me myself,
research.
I've zoomed in on my own cameras. Yeah, it does flicker and do some like weird shit.
What if that's just the lensing?
It's not the lens, man. I can see it with my naked eye.
That could definitely be the case. I think that God created a universe, and I think it was a program that's ran. I think we can't get outside of the program, and I believe in what you're saying. It would be some sense of truth that we will never be able to go. But if you're telling me that government ships are telling people they can't even go past
can't.
that, that's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, if this is like a video game, let's equivalent it to Grand Theft Auto, and you try to go at the edge of the map or the edge of the universe, it's not gonna fucking happen. It's impossible. That's to just call it quits because you can't do it. So there is some edge at some point.
Any real flat earther basically is we don't believe in an edge, right? Because we don't believe in space. You know, we believe there's a dome and there's water above it. Pretty much we've gone so far away from anything the government has fed us because everything seems to be bullshit. You know, YouTube straight up tells you all these organizations work together. By the way, you know, like they're the elite, man. They run the world. They run how everything goes, and that's just how it is, man. And until like something changes, nothing's going to change. But all right. So I just wanted to get into I don't believe anything the government says, and the closest thing to truth that we do have seems to be the fucking Bible, because talking about like when you're observational evidence, you're talking about like bones, for example, right? There are no dinosaur bones, man. It's all bullshit. You know, those are all compressed chicken bones that you see in museums and shit. And then you go into fossil fuel and shit like that, right? How like oil and gas is naturally produced by the earth, and that they're lying to us about the scarcity of it and raising all the prices and shit like that.
Yeah, of course. I believe that it's abundant because there's layers of sediment and rock, and these things trap
what
gases.
they originally told you is that because of the definition of organic, that's how they're able to label gas and oil as fossil fuels, because of the properties that created it.
Yeah.
Like, man, I have all these videos that better explain all these things, you know.
Well, I completely understand about fossil fuels. I used to work for a gas company.
But it's a farce. It's not real. When you start looking into like, when you get into the flat Earth thing, you start looking into all the different things objectively, and this includes like planes as well. Talk about how like those big air compressors or whatever, right? How like they use air as fuel, you know, and that a lot of them are designed and don't even have fuel tanks, you know, and that.
So then, what are those big ass things that they're taking out before the plane?
No, everyone brings this stuff up and whatnot. But what they're saying is, one, it doesn't take as much fuel as they're talking about. So when they go into like, okay, let's watch you do it, you know, because you're saying you do it. So they go and do it. First off, they don't fuel as much as they say that they're supposed to be fueling.
Yeah.
Right. They're talking about they fill it up with like 60,000 gallons.
Yeah.
60,000 gallons is so fucking enormous. Like how much, like space you need to hold.
Volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't fit inside both the wings combined and many more wings. You know, it just doesn't make any sense.
But isn't gallons a metric of weight, and gas is a higher density of mass?
This is a very good point you're also bringing up. How it also, like, you know, because you have this water swishing around in such an enormous amount or whatever, and the plane, it can't be like, you know, because water is spontaneous. You go this way, that way, this way. Yeah. You're more inclined to crash your plane.
Yeah.
You know? So in regards to like gas and how much of it, etc., you can only technically have so much. And if it's in the wings, like what the fuck, you know, you have all this water.
It's switching back and forth.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you design something, you're accounting for all that.
Well, this is what. Well, the next part of what I'm talking about is that they use different technologies that they don't really tell you about. Like for example, like the newest fighter jets, right?
Yeah.
They have no fuel tank at all.
Really?
There's no fuel tank.
So it might be electric.
They're talking about they use free energy.
That could be true. Tesla was talking about that for years.
Yeah, they're talking about they use Tesla's designs on the new on all the fighter jets.
Yeah.
And they have no fuel tanks at all.
Yeah. Well, Tesla was a very wise man.
A lot of this stuff actually goes back, touches base with this motherfucker.
With Tesla, yeah,
But he's like the OG #1, like flat Earth, all that other shit.
Really, know? Tesla was a flat earther.
I don't believe Tesla was a flat earther. I haven't researched into that part, but no, with the flat Earth shit, just you got the giants, all the different reminiscence of giants. We also like mountains. We don't believe in mountains. Right? Mountains aren't real. They're just knocked over trees.
I've been on a mountain though.
Yeah, it's a knocked over tree.
The mountain I was on, it was not definitely.
I'm telling you, you got
the mountains I've been on. They were like big ass hills.
There's some hills and stuff like that, but like Mount Everest and whatnot was a big ass tree.
Possibly.
Fucking I don't know. There's a bunch of them, man. Yeah,
I could definitely see.
Me just saying it, it's like not gonna do it for you. You gotta actually like.
Yeah, of course, and I do my due diligence to look it up. So I try to look up more information, come across more information.
Also, these rockets that you talk about or whatnot. First off, they're the loudest thing in the world.
Indeed.
Rockets are the loudest
100%.
Right? So did you know, like, if something's loud enough, you know, it melts your organs, it sets concrete on fire.
Yeah.
Melts concrete, sets grass on fire.
Yeah.
Right? Just the noise.
Yeah.
You know, and you're talking about these astronauts are 300 feet away, you know, from the fucking engine.
Yeah,
you know?
but you have isolation like padding to make sure that this stuff doesn't hit. Like that's why
These
there's
things-
chambers. If you see a rocket, it breaks out. It has like 3 different chambers. There's the bottom part, the middle part, and then the upper part, and then you have the cockpit that breaks off from that. Right, so it's like 4 different things.
This fucking level of noise, 300 feet away, and you're talking about people have to be miles away, and it's still enormously loud.
But they don't get hurt. Those people that are off the coast of Cape Cod, they're watching
Oh,
those.
they watch from miles away. None of them are allowed to be right up there, because
But there are definitely people there,
There are
because
people-
there's
people
people in the
around there.
control room.
dude, it's a whole fucking thing that happens. You know, like for example, my aunt worked for like NASA. You know, building satellites for 30 years. So
Really?
that's one of the first people I called because I wanted to use her to debunk this stupid ass flat
Yeah, I
Earth shit.
remember you telling me about her.
And no, so apparently 30 years of, you know, designing these satellites, whatever, right? Total bullshit, all farce. That she never seen a launch, not a single one, right? I'm
Really?
like, bro, that's like building a car and never watching it be test driven or anything like that. Like, you fucking kidding me? And she goes, yeah, like when you want to go see the launch or anything like that, nobody from the company is allowed to launch, and we all have to watch from an app that they tell us to download.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, so you watch it always from an app, right? And he's like, yeah, like she goes, it's an animation, right? And I'm like, that's interesting, right?
It is interesting.
And I was like, and only the family of the owner of the company are allowed to attend the launches for the satellites.
The thing is that for something, if you think about it in a practical manner, how would they actually have footage of it?
They just launch it.
But
Just
how-
like everything else.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, how would you have footage? So you send it out there. What are you gonna have, like, real footage of it doing that?
What do you mean, man? You can just take a camera, watch it be launched, just like the launch.
Yeah, from here, it's not gonna look good.
It doesn't matter, man. Any angle, anything, right? Of any satellite launch, and there's no picture. There's the only thing you have are when NASA attaches these bullshit ass satellites to these helium balloons. That's the only thing you can find.
Yeah, and I see those as well. But the
Satellite.
ISS, and from my knowledge, is taking several pictures as well as, and if it's international,
ISS not real.
if it's I don't. So the thing is that I don't necessarily know, but what I am aware of is like the fundamental physics of the world, like
Yeah, the numbers, pseudoscience.
Yeah.
I understand.
Well, it's not even just pseudoscience. It's just if I drop a ball, it's gonna hit the ground. I'm a realist. Like
Yeah,
I'm
but
not.
that's also it goes right with what I'm saying, which is the density of the ball reacting with the environment around it.
And honestly, I can't explain what you're with, and I'm very.
Oh, here's another part, man. Like gas pressure, air pressure, all these other things. All these things aren't possible unless it's in a container. You know, and you're talking about this infinite thing while we're moving super fast, right? All the fucking air and all that shit would just fly out. You know? How?
The
You know,
pressure, the pressure because of the mass, how big the planet is.
So
is
you're
bringing,
saying gravity keeps in gases?
Yes,
Okay, then helium.
still on the planet.
Gravity, it's not pulled to it. Explain a balloon. Anti-gravity. What the fuck? Come on.
I think at some point it dissipates.
The helium?
Yeah, but it's
But
still.
why is it able to float?
Float
Why is
up,
it able to go up?
and it's not going down.
Yeah, because what I'm talking about is you need a container to have pressure, air pressure, gases, etc. And you're saying gravity keeps all the gravity doesn't work. You know, the fucking air, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah,
hold down these
you're completely
molecules.
right. But the thing is that when you create these pressure gases, you need pressures. To
Yeah,
create
but these things aren't possible to create because we recreate them all the time.
Yeah.
But anytime we recreate them, it needs to be in a container. You can't
Indeed.
recreate them without a container.
Yeah, indeed, agreed. So if that's the case, I'm not too sure as to.
How's the air and all these other things staying here, especially if we're spinning? Clearly gravity can't hold it because it doesn't hold it. In front of us, it doesn't hold it. You know what I mean? So how's it being held in? You know, and like not only that, but like all these different spins, we don't feel any of them.
So how is
right?
oxygen being held into the planet?
Gas, anything, period, being held in, right? It's existing, it's coexisting openly.
Yeah.
You know, there's no, what you believe is there's no container. My belief is we're in a container, yes.
Well, I think the pressure around the planet through those atmospheres are keeping the oxygen sustained. That's why if you go
We're
to
flying around, and how would it be able to do that? Because it's clearly open. It's space.
what do you mean?
It's space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's open.
Yeah, but it's still
It's a-
pressure
it's a-
because of how
How
big
would
the
it?
planet
It's
is.
a vacuum. It's literally a vacuum. It's so open and big, right? You know, it's like having a fireball, you know, and just pure openness. It's a terrible example, but it just doesn't make any sense. I'm like, how does it stay in? How can it coexist? Like when we recreate it, we can't ever get gas pressure to coexist in a vacuum or any. We can't recreate that. So what you're talking about is this doesn't make any sense because we're having gas pressure, we're recreating it, doing all this stuff, but we can't recreate it. You know, like what we think is happening, which is it being on a globe that's being attached by gravity.
Yeah.
You know, so technically speaking, those are all theories that we're just talking about. It's never been, it didn't go through scientific method, which you need to actually have the observational evidence.
In
of it.
regards to like how the gases are staying on the planet and just
In regards to Earth, period, there is no observational evidence of this ball that you speak of, right? Or gravity holding it, or the spin of it. There's none.
I just use so I think a lot of, and I'm not saying I'm a accredited scientist or anything like that, but I believe that scientists are saying that if you use scaling to determine outcomes of the world around you, and what I mean by scaling is like you take a ball and you're like, okay, this ball is pretty. I can observe this ball. It's a round ball, and let's scale a little bit bigger. Let's look at the sun and let's look at the moon. Those are balls. If they look pretty flat, this ball in my hand looks pretty flat when I hold it away from me. So this is how we're scaling. So you scale from a small area to a larger area, and that's how you get measurements, and you just scale up the measurements. So determining on what you're doing would determine the type of measurements that you have to take and would give you in the type of outcome that you're looking for. And if it's false or positive, would just determine on how many tests you run.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is technically still hypothesis because there's no observational evidence of literally what you're talking about. And not only that, but recreating has never been done either. You can't literally you could spin a rock 1,000 miles per hour. I'm like, it's actually relatively easy to do that.
Yeah.
You know, if you put water to it, what's going to do? It's going to fly right off. You know, it's never been recreated, period. Not only at water bending like that. You know, water always...
Well, I don't think we can necessarily create anything yet that has the
it doesn't
mass
go through
sustain-
scientific method.
It doesn't. You can't really see. The thing is, but they only can go from scaling because we can't recreate an Earth. Like, well, we can technically we can technically recreate a digital Earth in a digital
even
environment.
when you digitally recreate what we're talking about,
Yeah.
it would get smaller because we're on an object, especially the dimensions that we put in.
What do you mean?
Like the higher we go up, the horizon just matches our eye level. You know, like
I've seen.
we just see further. Like for example, I can only see so far from here, but if I go higher up, I can just now see further.
Yeah,
Like,
a little further.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So the thing is, that's
can only see so
because
far,
that's
too.
because it is curved, in a sense.
No, so what you're saying is I'm seeing the curve when I see the horizon?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because if we could see forever, we'd see the Antarctica.
No, look, this is where you're going to. We literally can only see so far. That's it. Like,
But if a tree falls in the forest, does it still? And you're not there, does it still fall?
yeah, it still falls.
Okay, so if that's the case. If we're looking straight, and the world exists around us. So when it's not, even if we could see for so far, there's still something out there. And if we can't see to Antarctica, if I can go to the top of a tower and I'm clearing all the buildings, I can't see Antarctica. That means it's not flat. It can't be. It has to be round. It's just big.
Well, first off, Guinness Book of World Record of a picture taken immediately debunks the globe.
Which one? I mean, I don't know.
It's like 200 and something miles.
Let me see. I mean, yeah. Please present. Show it.
What about
So not only that, but lasers also prove that Earth's flat.
Which type of lasers?
Lasers, period.
Yeah.
They've shot lasers over oceans, lakes, all this other shit. What you believe is that water magically bends 8 inches per mile. That's been debunked by lasers.
I believe that this is a water planet, and when you drop a water droplet, it forms into a circle, and there just happens to be some land
you
on
still have to, no matter what, go by the educational system of what you learn. You still believe in the sphere. So you literally have to believe that it bends 8 inches per mile.
I don't know about that.
That's your belief, yes.
Yeah. I have no idea, but what I'm saying is that if you drop a water droplet and you suspend it in midair, it turns into a circle. This planet is a water planet. It's like 80% water and just happens to have land on it, and we just happen to be on the land. So that's what I think it is. If you froze water in midair, it turns into a circle, turns into a full sphere, 100%.
Yeah. I can see what you're saying there, but I'm just going with reality, which is you have large bodies of water or whatnot. In order to even have the reflection it does have, it needs to be perfectly flat. Like, just everything is with flat. Periscopes, they also prove that Earth is flat. You wouldn't be able to shoot other fucking targets hundreds of miles away, right? Just putting literally a scope above the water, and then it sees for
What
hundreds
about
of miles.
pilots would say it's flat?
Pilots?
Yeah,
what
pilots say
about
the pilots
the
say
real
it's flat.
scientists that
I'm not too sure, because if you could present that information to me and there's pilots that say that it's flat, I'd love to hear what their
It's
through memes and
through-
funny things.
So throughout, I literally have hundreds of
Culture
videos
things and- yeah.
on this shit. So, like, it's hard for me to just pull up exactly what.
No, you're fine, and it's
But,
completely fair.
I just have to say yes, they exist, 100%.
You have pilots that say that the planet's flat.
Yeah.
And there's definitely people that could say, and
Then they say the opposite
honestly,
or whatever.
I personally can't subscribe to any belief if I don't verify it myself, me or my team. If I don't fly to every airport,
So yeah, you can't verify the globe.
I can't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything. The only thing I can say is just scaling. As somebody who
Yeah,
loves
so
science, I love science.
We recreate it. It doesn't match. Period. So like when you recreate like this globe thing and whatnot, right, and you do it in there, essentially you would be able to start seeing the curve, and we just don't. It just stays a line.
Mhm.
When you look at the ocean, like you would actually technically be saying from what you were saying before is it dips past the horizon or whatever, and then that's the curve. That makes no sense, and
That's
it's
what's
easily
wrong.
debunked once you bring up telescopes, periscopes, and stuff
Yeah,
like
but
that.
even when you look in the telescope, periscope, you should see to the end. You should see to Antarctica.
Same thing, just like with the normal eyeball, the lens could only see so far.
But that's
and not
the
only
thing.
that, but man, like the only amazing where you allegedly get the pictures from is NASA, right? And these motherfuckers have the.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now. I play Grand Theft Auto. I fly up into the air. I can see all the way to the end of the map because it's a flat plane. The game is completely flat.
Yep.
Now the thing is
Same thing with here, man. You could see super far, man. I'm telling you. You just pull up the.
now if we test out, let's use an example because I don't know if you're familiar with this game. There's something called Beyond Good and Evil 2, right? They had a demo playing. It never came out, but the example that they presented to everybody is that literally you have a ship on planet. On surface level, you get onto your ship and you can fly past the atmosphere around the planet to other planets, and you can do this manually. You can control your ship, and they built in all the physics around how these planets work. And they're doing that in a video game in 2015, whatever, 12 or 14, I don't know. They started working on it, and to 2020. So
There are people that know like the flattest parts of the Earth, and I think they put on camera like the laser
yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, they have the lasers. The lasers prove that it's
And then
flat.
they tried proving it. because every
The Earth,
mile
like just fucking
is a
everything.
But even
man.
any example that you present to me within a laser, at some point there's a curve. That laser is not touching Antarctica, right?
Huh?
It should touch. If it's a powerful laser, it goes straight, and you have a.
Once you get into like the sea level and ocean and shit like that, yeah, it should just go straight, man.
But the thing is that if you had a laser,
It does.
you should be able to hit something, hit that wall, right? Bam, or hit
a mountain.
something.
Sure.
But you're
This
not.
all this goes right back into like how far we could shoot the laser, like how far that light could actually go and travel.
But light from the sun is hitting us. If we can't make light friggin' hit the end of the thermosphere or whatever, and we can't get a measurement for that, I can't go like this and hit a solid measurement equally all over because it's like.
Well, technically, no. When you shoot the laser and whatnot, what's crazy is it stops, right? So that actually does prove the dope. Because
Maybe.
technically the laser should continuously go.
Well, alternatively, it's an argument. Just an argument to
Really?
that is that it's hitting just the atmosphere, the pressure, and whatever pressure it's touching that's what it's stopping at. Because yes, there is a dome around us, and oxygen and atmosphere pressure.
I could actually be able to like possibly. All right, this is what happens when they shoot lasers.
Mhm.
It stops, right? And technically, it should go on like that. It's the weirdest shit.
Well, the thing is that it determines the amount of pressure that you, because I'm sure that they have some examples that it goes through. So it determines the amount of pressure that you put on the photons shot through the laser. And if it's not too much pressure, not too many photons, it's gonna hit the atmosphere and measure the atmosphere. But if you have a really powerful laser, it's gonna go past that and hit whatever you're looking for. So you just have to it's the measurement tool, it's the equipment.
Well, I mean, like, look at the equipment they're using, man.
Yeah, and they could probably, you can tweak that though. Both of those pictures could be real.
What about like how it says a firmament in the Bible, the sun and the moon, and then there's sunspots?
Well,
the sun.
to honestly, the Bible is just a geographical manuscript for people to treat one another in that area, and and they incentivize you.
I disagree.
What about when
I
it
honestly
describes,
think
like, the
it's
sun and the moon?
more literal, like, than we don't take it as literal as we should.
Well, the thing is,
like
if you
when
look,
they talk about giants and all that, the angels,
so,
demons, all that shit.
so the
it's
thing
all-
is that portions of it could possibly be real, but what my understanding is
I think
that
all of it's real.
in context of religion itself, if you look at it, there's a beginning and end, right? The beginning is to teach you how to handle your friends and fellow people around you and incentivize you with the end. It says if you don't do the first part, you're going to see one of the two of the end part, whether it's good or bad. So that's basically wherever you are, if you're in Egypt or friggin' America or Europe or wherever, it's like we're going to teach our kids how to follow these rules. If you don't follow these rules, you're going to go to the bad place.
In the Bible, which the Bible is just many books, and in the books it basically just talks
I
about
just referred it to
you know,
sun and moon.
just all of them are just different stories,
Like the
and in the
Father.
stories most of the time it's just people being shitty and like just doing things that, like, you know, God doesn't like and shit like that, and just pretty much about being righteous and doing the right thing and stuff like that.
Well, the thing, I believe that if this is a program, because if God is a thing, God would have to be an it, because you can only create with a man and a woman. So it's not a man nor a woman, it would be an it. And that it would be time. So there's time that oversees all of this, but the thing that oversees time is the creator, the NPC that created us. So it's a non-playable character that got sentient, created us, wanted to see art being generated automatically. We create the art for that, and one of us are going to become sentient enough to create another planet, and then that thing is going to be sentient, and then it's going to create another planet, and it's going to keep going. This is
That's a belief, but this is where I get into like just starting to learn about what is actually true, which is knowledge, right? And what is like a belief.
Yeah.
Again, this is where I get into like, all right, planets. Planets right now are a belief because you have no observational evidence whatsoever that planets exist. All the observational evidence from anybody private and whatnot, any fucking telescope we buy, they're fucking lights. They're fucking lights. They move just like these two big luminaries, you know. And we really just don't know shit. Like, don't.